And we are live on Red Pill News. Take the red pill. You know why I say take the red pill? Because of all this BS going on in the world, and you're seeing it firsthand. I mean, it's right in front of your face. There is a lot of dumbfummery. We have dead Marines. You know, you know what? I don't love Trump. I'm not a fan, but this would have never happened if he was president. So, and I watched Biden's speech today talking about how, they're going to pay and all this other stuff. They'll just talk. It's talk. You know, what the deal is they've never understood the enemy, not ever, you know, and to understand that particular enemy, it's not about they don't function on the same level as other people. Number one, you have to understand what they value. If you want to, if you go into war and you want to, disrupt someone's group, you have to look at what they value and what you can take away from them, as opposed to, what you think that they. I don't know, man. They don't know. And Biden looked like he was going to collapse. He looked like he was going to fall over, man. He looks like a really old, frail, old man. And he's not a quick thinker. He doesn't even know what's going on. He was, really emotional. And you know what? When you're the president, it's good to show people you care, but to show people that you're falling apart is not good. And every other country's watching. China's watching, Russia's watching. We have a lot of enemies in the world. Plus, and those other countries, I mean, we have this terrorism thing. It's been on the downslope, terrorism, hasn't it? We haven't heard. I mean, in the United States, we more fear the average video gamer who picks up a gun and goes out and kills a bunch of people. I mean, this seems to be what's going on. Somebody didn't take their meds, or they grew up in their parents' basement, coddled in front of widescreen TVs, and not in reality, and never had to do anything or amount to anything. There's a lot of that, and people thought they were doing their kids a favor by doing that, by raising them that way, and it's not the case. You look at all these shooters; they all came from that type of lifestyle. So that's not even terrorism. That's just some wacko who cracks, and that's it. And they think, like in the video game, they think they can go around just shooting. I mean, that's that mentality, right? And I do point to those games because these video games I'm referencing, like Call of Duty, games like that, were invented by the military for soldiers to learn how to kill. These are games that train you to kill in war and murder. Raising children on these games is unbelievable to me. It's always been, and I'm not against video games, at all. But I'm against giving children or exposing children to things that they're not ready yet, things that their developing minds and bodies can't handle and understand. So then they get this weirdness about them. I mean, I've known people like that were about to crack, and they did crack. And sometimes they take just themselves. Sometimes they take a load of people with them. So but now, like in Afghanistan, we're trusting the Taliban that Biden pronounces Taliban. Come, Mr. Taliban, tally me a terrorist. Ooh, ah. Ooh, ah. One terrorist, two terrorists, three terrorists strong. Come on, man. Come on, man. Isn't that Biden? Come on, man. He has no clue what's going on. And his cackling idiot vice president, she has no clue what's going on. She's not even around. They're not present. They're gone. They're all gone. He even came out. He was hiding all day. He doesn't know what's going on. I mean, he really doesn't know what's going on. I get that sense off of him that he came out, read from the teleprompter. They started asking him hard questions. He got the hell out of there as fast as. I have another meeting. I really do. When people say that, they're lying. You know that when they have to reinforce what they just said, they're lying. They are lying. I have another meeting. I really do. I really do. Liar. Really? Come on, man. Come on, man. Do you actually think he makes decisions for anybody, anytime, anywhere? And we're gonna make them pay. Who? Who? The terrorists? These were suicide bombers. They were willing to strap explosives to themselves and go kill innocent people. They're willing to do that. Anyone who's willing to do that is not your typical soldier. It's not your typical idea of war, even. These are people who have a passion and that goes beyond the foot soldier, that makes it more dangerous, makes them 100 times more dangerous. And you have to understand what they value. What they value. You need to go after that value because they don't care if they die. You know, they themselves, for their own body, they think they're going to go to Allah and have all the virgins and all the stories of what this, this, that, and the other thing. It's a crazy story if you think about it. This is what's sold to them. This is what the brainwashed. You know, to fight that, you need psychological warfare. We really don't have those types of people in the government because it's more about the meat and potatoes of security and war. But those are conventional means. These are unconventional people. To fight that, you have to understand where their heart really lies and stab it was what you got to do over and over and over again until they stop. So it's never been, it never happened ever. Russia was in there, England was in there. I mean, everybody was in there at one point in Afghanistan. They all got their asses handed to them. We've been there 20 years and are leaving in disgrace with people dying and all that and the horrible exit. And they've taken our weapons. They're using our own weapons to destroy us and all that now, all this is Biden blunders. And I watched in that meeting, well, it was Trump who had an agreement with the Taliban, and you blame it on the last guy. This is August, blame it on the last guy. Trump, if this was Trump, it would have never have happened like this. But you have the Democratic Party is not a functioning party. They're a compartmentalized party. Isn't it like not party of one? They're compartmentalized with a whole bunch of hate groups, and then you have your people kind of in the middle who are supporting the party, but they don't know what's going on. You have all these extremists that are out there, and but they all think they're going the same direction. They're really not. So you don't have any kind of real leadership. You have a bunch of cutthroats who are willing to stab each other in the back or cut each other's throats just to get the dollar. And I'll prove it to you. Look at every city that's run by Democrats. Look what's going on in those places. San Francisco, where they poop in the street and there's needles everywhere, where the crime is out of control. Also the rents, that's the double-edged sword because people want to live there in San Francisco. But you have all this terrible stuff going on. So what about New York's becoming an unbelievable wasteland? There's a movie called Escape from New York, Kurt Russell, right? Escape from New York. Lee Van Cleef was in that movie also. Awesome. And then, of course, Escape from L.A. years later for Kurt Russell. But Escape from New York, where things got so bad in New York City, they walled it out. It's an island. So it was easy to kind of wall it out and make sure and just make it a big jail and just dump whatever trash there is in there. And they live out their lives together, And this is what's becoming. You have no leadership. The governor of New York just resigned in disgrace from another sexual harassment situation. Just like the other governor. Spitzer had to resign. Sex scandals. I love the new governor. She took over. So I'm watching her on the news, and she's got crazy eyes. Like really, the people with that kind of bright, like someone just turned on the high beams, kind of crazy eyes. I don't like them, man. They give me a bad feeling. She gives me a bad feeling. But of course, it doesn't matter. So she's on there saying, it's important for every little girl out there to understand that they can become a governor too. I'm so proud to be here. I'm so proud to be your governor. And, if you work hard, you can be the governor. I mean, she didn't tell them that she only got the job because the guy before her, was sexually molesting women. She's gonna tell every girl that. Watch out for those guys, or hope your boss is some sex fiend, and then you'll get ahead with when he has to resign in disgrace. But every city run by Democrats is a horrible, horrible place. It's a place full of crime. It's a place full of suffering. It's a place full of immense poverty. They have done nothing to pull people out of poverty. I hear them talk. I hear them blame Republicans. They blame anybody and anybody. I don't get into that. I don't make excuses, not for anybody else, not for myself. You know, I mean, do I screw up? Of course. I embrace the screw up. You know, some people would rather see you live in suffering and misery, right? So you have to grovel every day and beg for forgiveness. We call those people women, basically. We call them women. But with me, I move on. Okay, you mess up, you do whatever, man. You acknowledge it. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to go forward. Okay. And it could be anything. It could be, all right, you go to the supermarket, you buy something you never had before, it's terrible, you don't buy it again. Boom. you're in the zone, right? You're moving on. Do I agonize over it? No. But you got to go forward, is what I'm saying. And you have to understand how people are in this world, especially people who are in powerful positions and whatever. If you want to affect a change, you have to apply yourself to the things that they value. And, you know, I mean, we could do show after show after show, and how to kind of, play chess mentally with people and all that. And that's all fine too. But when you're dealing with life and death situations and terrorism and that type of thing, or life and death situations of poverty, people dying because they're poor, because they can't access that great health care, because they don't have any money to eat well or live well, or they get food stamps and whatever. You know what? Most of the foods that are these people eat, they the ones who are living in welfare, they're used to eating heavy sugar and fat and laden stuff, and it's kind of uh, frowned upon to buy good food. And also, good food costs more money, even if they have food stamps. There's only so many things that those food stamps would pay for, but vegetables, other types of produce like fruit, dried fruit, and being able to put together meals. Mainly, a lot of people is just ramen noodles or mac and cheese, and Pop Tarts for the kids with icing and whatever, and just crap, pure crap. If we cared about them at all, we'd make sure that their food stamps didn't pay for sugar and laden food. Sugar is a killer. Sugar feeds cancer. Sugar. As a matter of fact, in COVID research, you guys might find this interesting. They have discovered that there are these glyphs that they're like gates over your cells of sugar, and they open and they close. And when the COVID virus comes to it, they open and allow the COVID virus to get in. And then the COVID virus actually is able to, it enables it to take the shape that it needs to take to cover the cell with its protein spikes. They're trying to figure out a way to make those gates stay closed. If they could do that, yeah, that would be it for the COVID virus. That would be it for a lot of viruses. Matter of fact, if they couldn't get into your cell, you would have immunity. But just letting you guys know, it's kind of an interesting note. But getting back to women who get you in trouble, I know, I'm just kidding. Rachel Bush, Rails. Rachel Bush is. She has pretty privilege. She is smoking hot model. She defines herself with her boobs and vagina. That's really what she does. I mean, there's no other explanation for it. She's not a great mind. She's not out there curing diseases. She shows her coochie and charges people money for it. OnlyFans announced they're going to stop charging, or stop having porn on there and paying people for porn. So there's going to be a lot of people looking for jobs in that food service industry. They're all going to be coming back. All the girls that are sitting there posing in their house, all the weirdness that has been going on. I still don't know who pays these people to see them naked. I mean, and I don't know who pays for even porn in this day and age. I don't even watch porn. That was years ago, man. It got boring because there's so much of it. You know what I mean? It's like an overdose. The internet came out, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm sick of it." It's like liking donuts and working in Dunkin' Donuts, and you're just sick of donuts. All right, Rachel, which I don't eat donuts. Rachel Bush, the wife of Bills safety Jordan Poyer, is demanding. She's demanding the NFL's health and safety protocols regarding unvaccinated and vaccinated players be fixed ASAP. So she's going to flash her cooch and say, "I'm demanding," on her Twitter. You know what having like all those Twitter followers means? Not really, nothing really, and most of them aren't even real. I love it when Twitter started going through fake accounts and getting rid of them. And then people are like, "I just lost thousands of people. Oh my God." They didn't. They didn't exist. They're all fake accounts. All right. The model, who's been vocal about her pro-choice stance about vaccines against COVID-19, shared a series of angry tweets on Tuesday in response to a number of Bills players being separated from the team after coming in close contact with a fully vaccinated trainer who tested positive for COVID-19. Yes, there are breakthrough infections. Yes, they happen more often on the Pfizer drug than others, sure. But yes, even if you get sick off of the breakthrough infection and you have the vaccine, you have a better chance of surviving and not having long-term effects from COVID-19 than not being vaccinated. But you have a lot of unvaccinated people out there, and they take a political stance mainly. Some of them are on the fence, some of them don't know, some of them haven't decided yet, but they see that this Delta variant and they see it's like wildfire. And look at Governor Death Santos in Florida, right? Look at he's playing a fiddle while Rome is burning. It's critical down there, and the healthcare system's all worked. All these people, there's no beds left, no pediatric beds left. Same as Texas. These people have a serious problem, and then they're still running around like there's no COVID. So you have a lot of political nonsense on this. And let me tell you, it was Donald Trump, he himself, last year, who said it was a Democratic hoax. It was a hoax, COVID, Another hoax, I watched him say it. So you can't backpedal. Watched him say it. So now the wide receiver, Cole Beasley, who has made it clear that he is unvaccinated, and Gabriel Davis, along with defensive tackles Star Lutelli and Vernon Butler, will miss 5 days of practice as part of the NFL's health and safety guidelines. So basically, they're unvaccinated. They're taking the chance, and also the team, the people who own the team, are taking a very large liability of having someone like that could easily slide into the hospital, get sick, and die. 5 police officers in Florida died. Young people died from COVID-19 last week. 5 police officers, they were unvaccinated. So it's happening. People say they don't believe it. Belief it doesn't figure in as numbers, right? So now all 4 of these players tested negative for the virus, and then they'll still miss practice as part of the NFL's COVID-19 mandate, and then they're going to have to test out again. So after the 3rd day of exposure, you test, and then 4 days later you test again, and if you're negative, that's it. You're done, right? Even though people have had symptoms show up on 10 and 11 days. And I'll tell you about this Delta variant. There are people that have reported symptoms that they've had for weeks of a roller coaster ride of fever and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, original COVID wasn't like that. So that's another thing to pay attention to, right? So because of this, that they have this mandate, and the person that exposed him was vaccinated, and he had COVID. He tested positive. There's breakthrough infections. It's not perfect. It does happen, right? So because of that, This girl was smoking hot, who she's like gets her boobs all up in a fiery kind of rage. I'm so mad. I'm gonna take my top off. Those guys are like, ooh, yeah. I know you're mad. I'm mad too. Guys will agree with any good looking woman, any dumb thing they say, unless the guy is like Tommy Lee or somebody like super famous who already knows how to deal with them. A guy who's dealt with thousands of beautiful women, thousands, yeah, that dude. They really, but every once in a while, one of them wraps the guy around their little finger. Man, look at Ben Affleck. He was out there shopping for a ring, looking. You know what? That same woman had a different owner just a few weeks back, and A-Rod, and he bought her a $2.5 million ring. What do you think happens to these rings? You think they don't give them back. She probably has a huge collection. She just freaking donate them and pull people out of poverty. You could probably solve poverty in America just off of J-Lo's engagement rings that she gets off of guys. They should do that. If you're listening, J-Lo. But Ben Affleck, he plays the field. He's been out with every crazy woman in Hollywood. My heart goes out to him because, crazy women are also attracted to me and or vice versa, man. It's kind of a two-way street. So I get it, Ben. I just don't go out buying rings for them ever. And if I do, I buy a fake one in cubic zirconia because I know that the relationship is going to fail. And I'm not putting a lot of money in it, man. You know what I mean? It's not like my car or something. It's something that's reliable. It's not. It's different. You put that cubic zirconia in there and save $2.5 million. Take the $2.5 million, put it in a paper bag in $100 bills. Put it in a vault somewhere, some safe place, right? And when the relationship's over, take that money and freaking go anywhere. Go to some poor community. Go out there anywhere where people are living. One of those places where, like in Vegas, they have a whole street of homeless people up and down. Go there and make some people wealthy. Break some people out of poverty, man. And not just the destitute. I'm saying like people who really need it. I'm not the destitute in the way that they're mentally ill and on drugs and living on the street because they just waste the money, or put into a foundation that can pull people like that off the street and heal them and get them on their feet again, find some kind of self-worth about them, something like that. But no, these guys don't do that. See what kind of waste money? There's one guy who just rented an entire arena to have dinner with some woman. I saw her. Yeah, she looked whatever, man. You know what? It doesn't matter. Go take it. She's the McDonald's type anyway. Go through the McDonald's drive-through in your limousine, but the girl doesn't even care. She only cares about the fat wallet. You think that she'd be going out with a guy if he wasn't this famous football player? Do you think that Melania Trump would be with Donald Trump if he wasn't a billionaire? Of course not. If he was Donnie the milk driver, milkman. There's still milkmen. Don't mock me. All right. So this girl is got her little audience that she's talking to. So here's her tweet. I gave up on Twitter, by the way, because it's ridiculous, and I really got tired of going on there looking at stuff and saying, "Are these people really that effing stupid?" And my answer is always yes, and I just kind of done. Here she is. I know damn well y'all are not about to put any blame on the players. Y'all. She's from like some high-end white chick being like, y'all. She's not even like a low-some Britney Spears type. She's much higher end. She'd be like a Ferrari in terms of cars. You know what I mean? Britney would be like a 1980s Camaro or something. If I'm going to associate women with cars, I could give it all. You know what? And J-Lo's a Bentley. J-Lo's that Bentley with that Phantom engine, 570 horsepower, go 200 miles an hour. It's got some age on it, but man, it feels good. You know what I mean? That's that. That's why Ben Affleck, who's like a moped, is a cool. He's like a Vespa. If guys were motorcycles. Yeah, because it's almost a motorcycle. You get it? You get it? Like a Vin Diesel, I see as like one of those nice old Indian chiefs, man. Like if I'm going to start, all of a sudden, I'm just going to start associating people with machines and be done with it. All right. But here's this girl. I know damn well y'all are not going to put any blame on the players who, one, don't have COVID and are testing every day, but two, were in contact with a vaccinated staff member. Y'all are so backwards. It's insane. All right. So how about we just cancel football and then that's it? And then you have another season of no sports, which, the Delta variant, 70% more infectious. And now you have Lambda on its heels, Lambda growing in California, getting bigger and bigger, which there's a lot of stuff being said about Lambda not being effective with vaccines, vaccines not being effective against it, and smashing your immune system, making it 150% less effective. Scary. So let's say the COVID goes around, you get the Delta variant, and everybody, the Mayo Clinic says everyone is going to get it. Everyone's going to get it on some level. They're going to be exposed to it. And it hits your immune system, and even by 30-40% makes your immune system start fighting back, doing this thing. Then you get a Lambda, and it's like the 1-2 punch. So a girl like this would never understand. And I'm going to say a girl like this because it's not the way she looks amazing, right? But the package has got damaged goods inside. You know what I mean? And she just is a twat. She doesn't understand what the frick is going on. She doesn't understand. She's not a scientist. She's not a doctor. She's not a nurse. She's not working in the field. She has no idea. The only thing she's bitching about is that her husband, boyfriend, whatever it is, who is unvaccinated, which is his choice. Sure, you make your own choice. He's unvaccinated, and there's rules. And then if you're unvaccinated, you got to pay attention to the rules. If you don't pay attention to the rules, then whatever, man. But this is their choice, right? Because people are dying and getting sick and dying. And I don't want one death. Not one. But look where we're at now. Look where we're at, when it comes to COVID-19. And man, look at Florida. Florida's the hotspot. And they're going to say, that idiot Death Santos, Governor Death Santos, was like, these people aren't even from Florida. The ones who are sick aren't from Florida. He sounds like such a stupid ass. When I listen to people like that, I wince. I'm like, ugh, stupid. Anyway, this girl thinks everybody's backwards. I know, damn y'all, ma. According to the NFL's health and safety protocols regarding COVID-19, unvaccinated players face much stricter restrictions than vaccinated players, along with a 5-day re-entry process. Unvaccinated players must test negative for the virus on each day before they can re-enter a team facility and resume practicing again. Here's a picture of Rachel Bush, boom, wearing a little bikini and her little, got a shave for that. Yeah, she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous woman, but doesn't mean that she's right about anything. That's pretty privileged, though. There's people like that, men too, who look really good, that kind of skate along on their looks, and they got nothing else going on. The light is on, but the light bulb is empty. It's just what it is. Vaccinated players do not have to isolate for 5 days if they are in close contact with someone who is tested positive for the virus. Vaccinated players are able to resume practice after close contact if they continue to test negative and are asymptomatic, right? Which is fair because they have the vaccine. And it more comes down to these people now and their beliefs. But if you look at the math, the people who are vaccinated aren't really dying in those big numbers like the people who aren't vaccinated. And the ones who are ending up in the hospital with long-term problems. Every time someone goes in, like let's say a Delta variant destroys your organs, your lungs, or your kidneys, and you have to be on some machine for a long time. That's a long time in a hospital. One person taking up that machine. Imagine if you have 100 of them, or 200, or 500, and then those hospitals become overloaded. Plus, it's a health thing. they have to understand now it's going to be a world of liability. Lawyers are about to jump in. You could just feel it. You can smell the blood in the air, right? And they're about to jump in because if these unvaccinated players play with other people, and then if they're playing with someone who's vaccinated who's carrying the virus and they get the virus from them and they die, don't you think there's going to be all kinds of lawsuits that the NFL allowed them to play knowing that they were unvaccinated? So it's a choice, but it's a choice for yourself. It's a choice like the mask, right? It's you have rights in the United States of America, all kinds of rights, but you will never have the right to make somebody else sick. So that's not a choice. It's just something that occurs because people get headstrong and they think that it doesn't matter if they're the infector monkey, or it doesn't matter, or they think they're not going to get sick. There's also that, right? So now in a second tweet, she wasn't finished. Bush wrote, when the vaccinated have been proven to be the problem over and over in the NFL so far, especially with the Bills, that the unvaccinated who don't have COVID are the ones who are getting punished. Somebody better fix this shit ASAP. Hey, look at that good-looking girl over there. She's screaming something out, but I can't hear what she said. Hey, honey, can you say it louder? I'm going to have another tweet. She's tweeting again. You think anybody cares? You think the NFL is going to like, oh man, they're reading this story like I am, like laughing, Well, Bills linebackers Matt Milano and AJ Klein were also sent home Tuesday out of precaution, but the league did not deem them as coming in close contact with the COVID positive trainer after conducting interviews. Milano and Klein were deemed eligible to practice. So what they really need to have in place, all these places, is immediate testing. And if someone's either vaccinated or not, they should all test before they walk through the door. And if they test negative, fine. But there's also those quick tests that there's a lot of false positive, false negatives. So the other tests are, 24 hours. I'm sure the NFL can pay some money and expedite those tests, right? And then vaccinated or not, that these people walk through the door testing negative. Now, you can test negative, and COVID, that viral load can be inside of you and then growing, and then you could even be infectious for a few days before you start showing symptoms or getting to the point where you are positive. And when people do get exposed, it is recommended that they get tested 3 days after, because that's kind of the period where things get together, but and we're still learning about COVID as we're going along, and these variants also act differently. So the reality is, this girl is clearly upset about the rules of the NFL. She's clearly upset. I'm sure in her next Playboy spread, she will definitely let people know how she feels about the NFL, right? So all these headlines should be starting off with vaccinated staff member. Then it takes you where you want. But the reason we're missing 5 guys right now is because of a vaccinated person. See, but it doesn't matter. That was her third tweet. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters that COVID is alive and well. It matters that the more you congregate, the more you walk around without masks, you don't do your hands, you don't get vaccinated, you don't do any of this stuff, it's going to spread. And nobody ever said, well, I never said that somebody who got vaccinated can't spread it. These companies alluded to it, not all of them. I think Moderna, they were like, well, it could, but it's more about keeping people alive. We're talking about percentages of survival. Look at it like that. There's no Bible on this of anything written in stone, and everything in the Bible isn't written in stone. There's percentages. If you wear the mask, you have a better percentage of avoiding COVID-19 than not wearing the mask. If you get vaccinated, you have a better percentage chance of living and surviving, and not just alive. I'm talking about bodily damage. I've seen 30-40% lung reduction in people, even more. This will be for the rest of their lives. This isn't something that's going to be done in a month or 2 months. And those people will always be susceptible to other things like bronchitis and whatever. Is this how you want to live your life? We didn't ask for this virus. We didn't ask for it, and nobody politically is doing anything about it. We know where it came from, and there's people who are responsible for it. But right now, it's about survival and what you want. So this Delta variant is going for your kids. There's kids sick all over the place, and then they're going to spread it. There's no school rules, and some people at Death Santos are arguing that kids shouldn't wear masks. It should be their choice. No, because they are not the gatekeepers on who they make sick and who they don't make sick. If one person's infected and then that kid is in that class with 20 other kids, those kids are going to be exposed. So why is it up to the one kid, the gatekeeper? That's not how our democracy works, as a matter of fact. And they don't have the right to make people sick, like I said. And this girl is really hot, man. I did look her up otherwise, and may I say, damn, that's the power of the internet. It really is, man. You can thank Al Gore for that, man. Yeah. So, how's this? We're running out of time. Not really. We got some time left. We had to start late because I don't know, something happened to the guy before. He had some kind of conniption. And, I don't know, man. Spazzed out. Something happened. Okay. This is happening in our society, and this is the Me Too movement. This is, and I'm not saying that it's all good and all bad. I'm saying that sometimes people swing too hard at the ball. You know what I mean? Sometimes they go overboard, and then they think it's a good thing, but it's not a good thing. It's actually, you need a balance. So this guy writes, as a male manager, can I refuse to meet with women unless chaperoned? And this is very serious because a lot of allegations get made against men who are bosses in business, anybody who like that over somebody who's female. Now they are afraid, and they're afraid to hire women. So now there's these women groups out there saying, men aren't hiring women now because of the Me Too movement. Well, you got it. You asked for it, you got it. There needs to be a balance, but you don't go crazy. But a lot of people went crazy. I know a guy that was fired from BJ's Wholesale Club, and he was the only helpful guy there. If you wanted a TV, if you wanted whatever you wanted, he would help you, unlike the other ones who worked there. These 3 women that he was friends with, goofing around with at work and whatever, one of them, I got her number. She sent me pictures of her and her bra. So she's pretty out there, right? I mean, out there. And that's how I roll, man. That's how I roll at BJ's. I like something special with my rotisserie chickens. Well, I mean, I got to be friends with her and whatever. I'm just joking. Got to be friends. I do like their rotisserie chickens, though. But this guy also thought he was friends with him. I said, be careful, dude. Don't trust women at work, especially these days. They got that sexual harassment form, and they're happy that they're even encouraged to fill it out. This guy tells him an off-color joke. I don't even know what the joke was, and then they all laughed at it. It was fine. 2 days later, he gets called in. His manager confronts him. Did you say these things to these women, these sexually inappropriate things? And he said, yeah, I told a joke. You're fired. Boom. And it goes in his record that he got fired for sexual harassment, gets filed with New York State and all that stuff, man. See, it makes you afraid of dealing with women in the workplace. And, guys in college are afraid to date the women they go to college with because they don't want anything alleged against them. They don't want anything said. They want to get drunk and have fun with their friends, not worried about going to jail the next day. And I know a guy who went to prison for 2 years because he got drunk with another girl and fooled around. Then the girl's friend said, he raped her and whatever, right? She was sitting out in the hallway, and the girl was like, no, I wanted to have sex with him. And then the other girl actually convinced her, but you weren't really capable of making that decision because you were drunk. Oh, well, I guess you're right. I guess he did rape me, That's how it went. And he was a black dude, the girl was a white girl, and it was a white bread place. He went to prison for 2 years, man, 2 years. So, yeah, stuff like that happens, right? All right. Here's the headline. If a governor resigns over a he said, she said dispute about where his hands were when she asked for a photo, or because he asked about their personal lives or hugged them for a second too long at an event, is there any hope for being a male manager? So I feel like all it takes is for one woman to make a claim, and then I am tarnished forever and risk losing my job. Can I make it clear that I will refuse to meet with any woman to work one on one privately? And this is an interesting thing, and this is a smart thing, because you don't know, and you don't want to be alone with these women. They can say whatever they want to say. The guy said this. He came on. He grabbed me. They can say whatever they want to say. Right, especially if you don't know them at all. You don't know if they have a screw loose or something, man. So there's that too, right? You remember Ford? Remember the one who testified, the Kavanaugh, that whole thing when he was trying to be sworn in, well, confirmed anyway, to the Supreme Court, and she said he raped her, and it was a whole thing. Then she said she didn't think it was him. Then she said that went through this whole thing that it turns out she wasn't even there where the guy was, and it was a different place all entirely, and she was ripped. So she basically didn't remember anything of the people that she was even with, which goes to show you her character and how she wants everybody around her to be responsible for her. And then after the trials, after it was all over, she made a statement. Well, she said that, well, I would have lied to keep him out of office. I would have been happy. It would have been my duty to lie to keep him out of office. So that's the thing. You have people that have an axe to grind, and then they will lie. They will destroy your life because they've got some kind of issue. So this guy's smart. He's going to have to interview women and hire them. It's good to have somebody in the room with you. But now these corporations are going to have to start paying for that type of thing, and allowing for that type of thing. So here it is. This is the answer to this dude. The truth is, I hear this privately from a lot of male managers, highly regarded and respected leaders who have never had anyone complain about them and have expressed concern about meeting with female colleagues behind closed doors as a result of everything that has been reported in the media in these past few years. I think that fear is unwarranted. In all my years in HR, I have never experienced a case of women conspiring to make multiple false claims about a male manager. See, now I'm going to stop there because this is the guy answering. I have seen that. I do know about that. I just told you a story about that, and it's getting worse. And especially these are low-level employees that love the drama, and they have no problem hanging a dude out, no problem getting together. And I've heard lots. You can't, you know what? When you read these articles, there's like in USA Today, there was an article about traveling, right? And I'm a road warrior, man. I travel, I do my thing, stay in hotels and whatever, move around a lot. So they said, don't use a third party app. Better to call direct and book. You'll get better perks and a better rate. Now, I just saved $250 off of a room for 4 days because I used booking.com. And if I didn't, I would have had to pay the extra $250. And if you book direct, a lot of these people charge you incidental fees of like $75 or more. And then mainly they don't give them back to you either. They said that they keep them. If you use booking.com, they'll charge you the incidental fee, but they have to give it back to you. So there's reasons why you do that. But USA Today, their bread is buttered by these huge hotel groups, not the third-party apps, the huge hotel groups, right? So it's in their best interest to lie and say these things, even though, the person who wrote the article that I read obviously doesn't travel that much, or they travel on corporate money and it's not their own money. I travel on my own money. So then you have to be frugal on the road, stay in good hotels, but not ones that will be full of bed bugs that'll freaking eat you up alive. So it's actually pretty simple, and you want high-end amenities and nice things, but you don't want to go crazy either. And especially if you don't use pools and facilities and workout rooms. A lot of times, if you call the hotel and tell them you're not going to use the pool, the facilities, workout rooms, they'll give you a better deal. But you have to compare. So you know what I do? I use the third-party app. I see what the best deal is against all the other apps, right? And then I call the hotel directly, and I'm like, can you beat this price? If they can match it, I do it. Especially if they don't charge me the incidental. If they can beat it, I do it. But if they can't, I don't. I just use the third-party app, and that's it, man. So Okay, let me get back to this. This guy says, if you have any concerns about a particular colleague, male or female, and you need to have a difficult conversation with them, you may feel more comfortable. See, this guy misses the point. This dude's talking about not just meeting with people, but also like the hiring process and all that. You don't know who that person is walking through the door just from having their resume. You don't know them, you know? But but this guy's like, but to say you won't meet with any women privately is insulting and unprofessional. Now, I read this article specifically because it's coming from the point of the mass media. You can't say anything bad or not even bad, truthful about a situation like this without being attacked. If you say female, you're attacked. If you say black, you're attacked. You know, and this it causes a weird kind of vibe out there where people can't be truthful with one another or express themselves because they're fear. They lose their free speech. They're in fear of being judged or sending people into some kind of fake outrage, right? You know, it's like the Comedy Channel. It's not funny anymore. And now it's become all political. And they have that idiot on there, that Trevor Noah. And he was horrible, man. Horrible. And, you know, not just because he was all just the anti-Trump crapola, but he was an absolute racist against white people, that guy. And he was taken off of there. They said, well, now he's in hiatus, you know. No, they took him off because they had over 100,000 complaints on the guy was a racist. You know what people are writing? They're like, I don't like Trump, but I don't like what this guy does, and he's racist. He's racist. He's racist. The Comedy Channel thinks it's okay to attack people on their skin color, you know, or promote things using skin color, which is also racist. So now they have a new show going on there. They got some black dude who with eyeliner. He wears eyeliner, you know, right? And the commercials consist of mainly black people saying, oh, this guy is on. And they make a point that he's black. They keep making a point that he's black, that he's a black host who's going on at night. Who's producing this show is that Colbert dude, right? He's whiter than an ivory soap, and he's the one producing the show. It's interesting that he's just this dippy lib who's producing the show, and he's using this guy and his skin color and playing the race card to get people to watch. Why not just, it doesn't matter what your skin color is, put somebody good on and people will watch. You know, my favorite comedians are black. My favorite Dave Chappelle, you know, Chris Rock, favorite. You don't get any better than those guys. You know, you put someone with that kind of charisma and that kind of talent, people are going to watch. No one's going to care what their skin color is. But if you have to promote something with skin color and also at the same time so the only two white people in the commercial, one looked like a meth head who was behind this chain link fence, looked like he was in a prison. And then with a close up with his gross teeth, and he's like, oh, laughing like it, because there's a fat, sweaty, gross white guy who was like, who's on TV at night? He's like, white guys. And the other guy's like, oh. I find that commercial to be a disgrace. It's not funny. The reaction it drew out of me was disgust. I will not watch that guy's show. He has no talent in my book. He's a no talent hack if they're putting him in there. And there's better people to put forward. But why is the Comedy Channel doing this? And it seems like they're pushing all kinds. They're pushing the transvestite thing. And I see the commercials for the transvestites, you know, RuPaul and all that. Listen, man, I don't care what you are. I don't care how you want to live your life. As long as you don't hurt anybody or hurt any animals. That's me. That's the book of Angley. That's fine. But these men dressing in lingerie and sexualizing everything and whatever, it's inappropriate for basic television. You know, and it's also goes to show you a certain mentality, because they're exploiting all the other men out there that feel that need inside of them to be a transvestite, transsexual, whatever they are, you know. And just like black people, you know, it doesn't care whatever color you are is fine. Go on TV, have that show, and be successful. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. You know what I like about Judge Judy? I don't watch the show, but I like Judy Shineland. I like her. These women groups kept coming to her over and over. You got to speak and about being a female judge, and you're a female judge, and blah 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 blah. I know she said they were going to give her an award this one place, and she said no. She said, they were like, well, why don't you take this? You know, you're the best well-known female judge, and you're such a success. She said, because I never looked at myself as a female judge. I'm a judge. And I love that answer. I love that answer. That answer was and she had thunderous applause by a weary people being sick of being bombarded by isms and schisms, and now people are coming together saying we've had enough of your PC BS because it doesn't make anything better. It divides people and makes everything worse. So I'm all for equal rights. I'm all for no color. You shouldn't even ask what color somebody is and whatever. You know what I mean? Gender this and gender that and whatever. We're just people. We're people. But if you have to sell your TV show, Mr. Mascara, guys that wear mascara are out there, man. I don't think he's a transvestite. But if you have to sell your show on the fact that you're black, it's already failed. It already failed. It's gone. It's gone. So just put somebody who's talented out there. That's all. There's plenty. I used to watch Arsenio Hall. His shows were great. They were great. He was cool. He was cool with his people, man. He wasn't all stiff like a lot of these other guys were. I mean, like, I respect that, but I didn't think of him as a black guy. I thought of him as a great entertainer. So to be colorblind that's where you need to be. But these people don't preach that. Instead, they want you to judge or do things for someone because of their color, or not do something because of a color, or put down white people, or put down this group and put down that group. You failed. You failed. If you do that, you failed. That's my answer. That's my final answer on the Red Pill News. I'll see you guys next week on the show. I will see you next week, and we're going to kick ass like we always do on the Red Pill News. Take the red pill. Take the red pill. Take the red pill. See you guys next week on United Public Radio Network, UPRN, TalkRadio.com. Say a prayer for Joe Montaldo, man, because he is suffering. Say a prayer for my friend. He is suffering badly.